The diner was mostly empty that night, except for the low hum of fluorescent lights and the faint clink of silverware against porcelain. Claire moved silently between tables, her ponytail tucked neatly under a black cap, eyes avoiding contact. She'd been working at Miller's pit stop for 5 months now, and in all that time, she hadn't said more than a dozen words to anyone. Locals called her the ghost in boots. She just smiled and served, always listening, never speaking. The silence wasn't because she couldn't speak. She simply chose not to. Outside, thunder rolled in the distance, and the wind carried with it the scent of oil and metal. Claire noticed it before anyone else. The way the ground vibrated ever so slightly, the way the glasses behind the counter trembled. Then the sound came. Roaring engines. Dozens of them. The bell above the door rang once, then again, and then it didn't stop. One by one, the bikers poured in. Thick leather, dirty boots, tattoos crawling down their necks like snakes. They took over the place as if it belonged to them. Claire stood behind the counter, wiping a clean mug that didn't need wiping, pretending she wasn't watching. The leader swaggered in last. He was tall, wide-shouldered, with a patch on his vest that read, Reaper. His beard was streaked with gray, and his eyes scanned the diner like a wolf surveying sheep. "Well now," he drawled, slamming his hand down on the counter, "ain't this a pretty little graveyard?" The others laughed. Claire didn't react. Reaper leaned over the counter, close enough for Claire to smell the stale beer on his breath. "You deaf, sugar?" "I said this place looks like a graveyard." She blinked slowly, then turned and grabbed a menu, placing it in front of him. That only made him grin wider. "Quiet type, huh? That's all right. I like 'em mysterious." Behind him, the bikers were knocking over condiments, whistling at the teenage hostess, tossing peanuts across the booths. One spilled hot coffee across the table and laughed like a lunatic. The cook peeked out from the kitchen, then immediately disappeared back inside. Reaper snapped his fingers in front of Claire's face. "Hey, I asked for your name." She didn't flinch, just turned and started walking away. That was when he grabbed her wrist. The diner went completely still. The other patrons, what few were left, froze mid-bite. The bikers stopped chuckling. Even the wind outside seemed to pause. Reaper pulled her back roughly, his tone shifting from playful to sharp. "You think you're too good to talk to me?" Claire looked down at his hand gripping her wrist, and in that moment, something in her eyes shifted, the stillness of a silent lake before a storm. She turned her gaze toward him, slowly, deliberately. Then she spoke. "Let go." It was the first time anyone had heard her voice in months. It was calm, quiet, but it cut like a blade. Reaper laughed nervously, not expecting a response. "What if I don't?" The lights flickered once. Then Claire moved. No one could tell what happened first. 1 second she was standing still. The next she twisted Reaper's arm behind his back so hard he dropped to one knee. His scream pierced the air, sharp and raw. She kicked his knee from behind, and his whole body hit the floor. Two bikers lunged forward. Claire ducked. One went over the counter. The other she grabbed by the vest and used his own weight to flip him across the floor like a rag doll. There was a thud, a crash, a scream. The waitress wasn't a waitress anymore. She was something else. Reaper groaned from the floor, trying to crawl away. Claire stepped over him, scanning the diner like a soldier on enemy ground. 3 more charged. Big, mean-looking guys. She stepped between them like wind through trees, dodging, striking, spinning. One of them swung a broken pool cue. Claire caught his arm mid-swing and bent it back until it snapped. He howled. She took the cue and jabbed it into the next one's ribs before kicking him into a booth so hard the table cracked. Somewhere, someone called 911. Someone else dropped their phone, too stunned to speak. "Who the hell are you?" one biker shouted. Claire didn't answer. She didn't need to. One of them tried to grab her from behind. She spun and elbowed him in the throat, then landed a side kick to his chest that sent him flying through the pie display. Glass shattered. Cream splattered the walls. The last few standing started backing away. One bolted for the door. Claire walked over to the jukebox. Calm now. Composed, she pressed a button. A country song began playing, a slow, haunting melody. She turned to Reaper, who was still groaning on the floor. You come into people's homes. You think no one's watching, but someone always is, he whimpered. We didn't know. We didn't know who you were. She leaned down, her voice low. That's the problem. You think you can hurt anyone just because no one's watching? You were wrong. Police sirens began to wail in the distance. Red and blue lights flashed across the window. Claire stood tall again, pulling off her black apron and tossing it on the counter. The silence returned, but it was different now. Heavy, reverent. The cops stormed in seconds later, guns drawn, only to find a battlefield and one woman standing alone. The chief stepped forward, eyes wide. Delta? Claire nodded once. He blinked. Claire Monroe? Another nod. He lowered his weapon. We thought you were dead. Claire looked at him for a long time. Then she finally spoke again. I was, but now I'm just quiet. The officers began cuffing the bikers, dragging the injured out one by one. Reaper didn't resist. His hand trembled as he pointed at Claire. She's not normal. She's not just a waitress. The chief turned to him. That woman took bullets in Kandahar, led black ops in Syria, saved hostages in Venezuela. She's more than normal. She's the reason you're still breathing. Claire didn't wait around for praise or questions. She slipped past the wreckage, past the shaking cook in the kitchen, past the hostess who stared at her like she was a superhero. Outside, the wind had picked up again. She lit a cigarette and took a long breath. She had never wanted the spotlight. She'd only wanted peace, a job where no one knew her past, where she could forget, where silence was a gift, not a burden. But tonight reminded her, some monsters don't disappear unless you show them what you're made of. She walked off into the darkness as the police lights faded behind her. The legend of the silent waitress who brought down a biker gang in under 5 minutes would spread like wildfire through town. But Claire wouldn't be around to hear it, because tomorrow she'd be gone again, silent, invisible, until the next time someone thought the quiet ones were weak.